Hello and welcome back to the channel. Just jumping in today. I want to talk about something that I actually watched this weekend. I had surgery on last week on my leg, so I was able just to sit back and to find something to watch. And I was going through Amazon Prime and I came upon the Tyler Perry sisters. So I've only finished the first season of it, and think I've watched like one or two episodes of season two, but it is a lot to unpack. Now I know that there, I believe, are like 6 or 7 seasons already with the Tyler Perry sisters. But just even if you have watched it, just go down memory lane with me as I talk about some of the things that I noticed within this particular series that I would like to discuss with you on today. For those of you that have watched it and those who may not have watched it, I'm not going to give too much away about the series because there's a lot to really unpack when it comes down to this particular season of Sisters. But I want to, for today, concentrate on some of the issues that we as females have. And as you know, with the climate of relationships today, when it comes down to Black men and Black women, we are all over the place. And for a lot of it, I believe that that's by design so that we can be in discord and that we won't produce more children. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it without giving so much away. I want to really dive into this particular moment where one of the characters by the name of Karen, and let me just throw out there that all of these women are successful in their own right. They have careers. They are in their 30s, maybe late 30s, maybe early 40s. They live in Atlanta. We already know the climate of Black Hollywood in Atlanta. I haven't been down in years, but I would go religiously. I have family members down there that I still, or I would go and visit quite often. But be it that I have been in Atlanta since I was a little girl to visit my auntie, all the way up to adulthood, I can tell a drastic change in the environment of what we know as Black Hollywood, also known as Atlanta, Georgia. So these women, they're in their particular careers. They're at the height of their careers. They're successful, which I don't see how they can be successful because they're always in each other's faces. And I don't never see when they have time for work, but just follow with me. So these four ladies are very, very close. They're best friends, more like sisters, even though they didn't have the same mother or father. They are each other's family, and no matter what's going on with any one of them, they all come running to make sure that each one is okay, which is a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. But just watching the series and watching this season of season 1 of Sisters, it was a little bit too much, especially when you're in your 30s. I could see when you were in your, high school and college days where, you would have that bond. But now these women are approaching their 40s if they're not already. They don't have a husband. They don't have any children. And some of the ladies are concerned with these facts. Because they realize that their biological clock are ticking, and it's ticking quite rapidly. So one of the things that I want to put out there as a disclaimer before I get into the meat of this particular video, I do not condone violence of any kind, especially when it has something to do with a person's choice. If if someone chooses, and in this particular case, I want to talk about when it comes down to attacking someone because of their sexual orientation. That is totally wrong. Now, I do believe, I do know that there are laws that protects them, and that's a separate issue. I'm not going to even get into what I feel about civil rights and all of that. That's a different video, but there are laws that protect the alphabet community against certain crimes. However, in this particular season, we do witness someone who was gay. I think his name was Maurice, if I'm not mistaken, who was a friend of this character by the name of Sabrina. They worked together at a bank, and he got attacked by someone who hated the alphabet community to the point where they got violent. There was an assault that took place. But that's not what I want to discuss, but I do want to throw out there that that type of violence is uncalled for. You can disagree with a person's lifestyle. You don't have to co-sign on a person's lifestyle, but everyone has a choice and a right to live their individual lives the way that they see fit. So I want to throw that out there before I got into the meat, because I don't want you all in the comments speaking, as I'm being anti whatever, because I'm not. Now, I do believe a certain way. I believe in the natural order of things. However, that's my opinion. So, with that being said, a lot of us Black women, as I said, I've done videos about the 94 crime bill and the effect that it had on the Black community when it comes down to having the Black males in the home, having Black males to choose from, because some of us do believe and are looking for a Negro, me in particular. For my type of thing, I want someone who shares the same lineage, someone who shares the same heritage, and someone who understands the struggle. And it's hard when you go outside of your race, because though struggles may be similar, it's not the exact same thing. We can't touch and agree, and we can't identify. Most of the times, we cannot identify with the other person fully because we come from different cultures or different races. So with that being said, for me personally, I prefer to stick with someone within my race, someone who is culturally a descendant of enslaved people, or someone who was native to this land. So that's just my preference. But going into what I want to talk about today, Black women, we do have a problem when it comes down to masculinity. I remember in 2001, there was a book called Black Men Living on the Down Low, DL, and I read that book, and I was just like, what? I couldn't believe it. I was shortly out of high school when that book came out, and it really opened up my eyes to a lot of things. And during that time, I was dating guys that were in and out of the corrections facilities and things of that nature, and the book really exposed a lot of things. So I came up with my own test to test men to make sure that they were not bisexual. If that's what they wanted to do, or if that's what they chose, that was clearly their right. But I know for my preferences and my standards, I wanted a rock solid, hard Black male for me, with no exceptions of compromising, going to the other side, or someone being interested in someone of the same sex. So that was my preference. So the book taught me a lot. In this particular season, Sabrina meets this guy called Calvin. Calvin is dressed very well. He's well spoken. He's he seems to really adhere to the needs of Sabrina. He takes her out on dates. He's very detailed in how they interact, what she has on. And he's just very interested in Sabrina. And Sabrina was the type where she was almost to give up on love, or about to give up trying to find that soul partner. She had pretty much said, whatever. So the girls would just always be together because they were having a struggle trying to find a man that would meet their needs and their wants. Sabrina meets this male called Calvin. Calvin seems like he's on the up and up, Sabrina becomes very hopeful. So as time goes on and they're dating and getting to know one another, Calvin runs into someone that he knew from his past and comes to find out that this person, I don't know if they were gay, but I know that this person was dressed or trans. He was dressed in, female clothes, but clearly you could see that this was a male. And so it kind of took Sabrina by storm, like, who is this? You just kissed a man in the mouth and you're a male, and so she had a lot of reservations when it came down to Calvin. She kept asking, are you gay? He said, no, I love women. She said, well, are you bisexual? He said, no, I love women. So when they were getting ready to get down on the first episode, if I'm not mistaken, as they were getting ready to get into the groove of things, as she's taking his pants down, I can't remember. I know there were two separate instances. One where when she took his pants down, she saw that he had on red panties or underwear that maybe was made for a man, but had the buttons down the back for easy access, if you know what I mean. Okay, and so when she saw that, it kind of like it messed with her mental because she was not used to that type of man. She was used to a man that wore boxers. She's freaking out. She's like, oh my God. She's sending pictures to her homegirls, which was a mistake, number one. I know we are really tight with our friends and those who we call our sisters and stuff, and we want the approval or disapproval from those that we love and care for. But I just think when it comes down to all of these ladies, their friendship and their sisterhood was too involved if they were trying to be in a relationship with a male. So moving forward, they try again on a different night. She thinks that he got the idea or whatever. And the same thing happens again. She pulls down the pants and there's some yellow panties or underwear that looks like panties, lace and everything, with the opening in the back. So she's really freaked out. She was like, oh, I can't. And then he had these female tendencies. And one thing about us, be it that we are black women and that we are strong black women, we don't want a guy that is softer than we are. That's just a turnoff. We want a man that is strong, not only physically, but strong mentally, and who can handle business. Not someone who's in the mirror more than we are. Not someone whose hands is softer than ours. Not someone who put an S at the end of their word. Got that sound. Oh no. A real woman wants a real man. So it's certain tendencies that would just turn us off. And Sabrina didn't really want to be turned off because she knew deep in his heart that he was a good man. And that's another thing with us sisters, is that sometimes we see the kings and these brothers that they don't even see in themselves. We see the potential because we are women. We plan ahead. We organize and we plan things. That's just our nature. And so when we see a man and we see qualities in a man that we may have seen somewhere else, we're able to indicate that that's a king. Even when that man doesn't believe in himself, even when that man doesn't see his worth or doesn't see himself like that, sometimes we are able to see what they don't see. And that was another issue as well within this series with another friend and a guy who just couldn't get himself together, you know. So a lot of times as Black women, we see the potential in a mate. And Sabrina was seeing potential in Calvin, but Calvin would come off with these feminine-like gay tendencies. And that would just throw Sabrina off. And he also went into the judging, where he said, unfortunately, he said that, you know, he felt as if she was judging him. And it's not so much as she was judging him, because that's who he was, but she saw this greatness in him, but that greatness quickly diminished when she continuously saw these female traits within him. That's a total turnoff. And so as she began to learn him a little bit more, she finally got a chance to understand that he was adopted at a very early age by this white gay couple. Which brings me to this next point. I am not an advocate for, I believe in the Bible, straight like it is. I believe in the natural way of things. That's me. That's my opinion. I stand on it, and I'm going to always stand on it. However, I'm not going to make anyone feel bad because of the choices that they choose to make. And if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. That's period, point blank. However, I do have a problem with gay couples adopting children. And if you watch this season, you would definitely see what I'm talking about. Sabrina learned within this season of Sisters that Calvin was raised as a young child by this white gay couple. And so during his upbringing by these white men, not only did he have to in school deal with, you know, maybe racist comments because he was a Black child and he had white gay fathers. And so with the practices, I can only imagine that with the practices that he saw and he experienced within his house growing up, it made him very comfortable being within the people that loved him, both of his fathers, seeing them act in a feminine way. And he began to realize that that was just a way of life. It became normal to him. It became, he accepted it because that was the only thing he knew. He grew up in this type of environment. And it was very unfortunate because he is a good guy. I don't know. I got to finish watching the other seasons. And it appears that towards the end of this season, Sabrina winds up, you know, accepting him. But I'm like, for how long is this going to last? Because yes, he's a good man and he has that potential and he's trying, because you will see that after he had on, you know, the panties on 2 occasions, later on down the line, he put on some regular boxer shorts, you know, and she was like, okay, you got on boxer shorts. Okay, I see you, you know, but he always felt judged because she was used to the traditional family structure. She was used to, as most, man, woman, children. And so this is something that society as a whole, since 2008, thank you, Barack Obama, we're starting to swallow the acceptance of, seeing this on a daily. You brought a child into it. Now this child sees the way that daddy and daddy loves each other. They see the way that daddy and daddy interact with one another. They see daddy and daddy, daddy and daddy, daddy and daddy, and they don't see mama and daddy. They just see daddy and daddy. One might act like a mama, but he's still a daddy biologically. So Calvin, in this case, he grew up with two fathers, and you could tell. And no, we can't change anybody. We shouldn't want to change anybody. In the same sentence, we should not compromise our standards and what we want and what we know and deem to be right. And sometimes it looks like within this season that these women are so desperate to have a man that they compromise a lot of things that they know will not serve them in their best interest as the future goes on. So I just wanted to touch on that. I'm not going to hold this video long at all, but it makes a difference with everything that's going on in the world. And like I said, I'm not hating on anybody, but what you do will make an effect on your children. Regardless, it doesn't even have anything to do with being gay. If I'm out here and I'm bringing in all kind of men and my child is seeing all kind of men coming in and out my house who is not my husband, and I'm laying with this person, that person, that's not a good environment for that child. That child will grow up and that child will start to illustrate those tendencies that they saw mama do. It's so many scenarios. So you really, as a parent, have to be mindful of what you do in front of your kids and the example that you are portraying in front of your kids. And I know there's a saying within the Black community, don't do what I do, do as I say. But that's a contradiction, because you have to be an example of what that child is to do. So this series, as you know, Tyler Perry ain't coming out unless it's drama. And if you're looking for some drama, this is a series to watch. It's a lot that goes on, and I may come back because there were so many issues that I want to speak on, and that will pretty much help. We have got to stop making things normal that isn't normal, because in the end, it will have an effect on future generations. Just to wrap it up, as Sabrina looks like she's going to try to give Calvin a try. They're going to try to make things work. He was even talking about children. Now, how do you think they're going to raise their children? If she gives him a baby, or if they have a child, how do you think that child will be raised? I just wanted to throw that out there. Hopefully you can get to see this particular series by Tyler Perry called Sistas, and let me know your comments, what you think. I don't know, but that's just my 2 cents on it. So I would love to hear and see what you would have to say. Please like, share, comment below, and I will see you in the next video. May God bless.